Okay, we should be live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the June 1st supplemental committee meeting for the Queens Community Board 1 Transportation Committee. So I will take attendance. I am Dominic Stiller. I am here in no particular order. Adam Fisher-Cox.
Here.
Tom Ryan.
Here.
Nas Magutis. Nas, you have to say you're here. You're muted. I'll move on. Christina Lastris. Can you guys hear me?
Now I'm here. I'm here. Nas.
Okay, so Nas is here and Christine is not yet here. You, Ma.
Here.
And I will spell your name right, not wrong today. Antonella Di Silvestro.
Yeah, I'm here.
Antonella. I have you as A Di Silvestro. It's Di Silvestro, correct? An O at the end or an A?
Di Severio, but that's okay.
Di Severio.
Okay, don't
Di
worry.
Severio. So sorry. I'm getting older every day. And you're here, right? Okay. So I think that some of the names that are not here, there are more members on the committee. I think, isn't Amin on this committee, Florence?
No.
Okay. So I didn't have the list in September, so I'm kind of going from my own informal records, but I think I've covered everyone that's currently on the committee. Please.
No. It's Dominic Stiller, Antonella Di Severio, Adam Fisher-Cox, Christina Lastris, Amin is on. Yuma, Amin Mehedi, and Tom Ryan. That's it.
So is Amin Mehedi?
Mehedi is on. You are correct.
Hi, Amin. Are you here? No.
No, he's
I'm
absent.
surprised.
May
Okay.
come late. Maybe he's working.
Yeah, he just seems to enjoy it. So to be here. So, okay. So we have a resolution to discuss, but we're going to do that after we have a presentation from the MTA. And Florence, could you please introduce the MTA and the specific topic, because I think I don't have it precise. Thanks. Oh, and before I do, are there any CB1 members that are here that are not on the Transportation Committee? I'd like to write your name down. No. Okay. Florence, you're muted.
I was trying to send Tom the paper. Don't mix up the attendance because the Borough President's office looks at the attendance list. It's only committee members that should be on the attendance
No, I just like to
list.
put a record here. It's okay.
We're going to turn this into the Borough President's office. That's why I'm telling you. Your documents are going to go to the Borough President's office. It's an official record for the board. Okay? This is new. It just started last year.
Sure. I got you my minutes a month ago, and I think they were fine. They did have a list of non-committee CB1
And I had to
members.
redo a list. I have to do a list, redo the list then.
All right. All right. You're on. So Florence, can you, or Daniel, would you like to introduce?
Absolutely.
Sure.
You want to do it, Dan? Just take the lead. Go ahead.
Sure, no problem. Good evening, everyone. My name is Danny Randell. I'm an Assistant Director of Government and Community Relations for MTA New York City Transit. I am joined here tonight by a couple members of our team, Mohsen Farvarden, Yvette Kleinbach, and Caitlin McGee are from our PMC team, and we are here tonight to talk to you folks about the ADA expansion that's going to be taking place at the Northern Boulevard M and R station. So thank you to Florence and for everyone for having us on. So I am going to get into my screen and just get started. Hold on. Okay, and then we will go into full present mode. Okay. So, like I said, good evening, everyone. We're here to talk about the ADA accessibility upgrades coming to the Northern Boulevard M and R station. This project is a part of a larger ADA bundle of stations that includes 137th Street City College on the one, the R Bay Ridge 95th Street stop, and the Parkchester East 177th Street station. And this bundle is a part of the MTA's capital program commitment to make 70 stations ADA accessible by the end of our capital program, leaving no person theoretically between more than 2 stops from an accessible station. And of course, this is a part of our larger commitment to make the system 95% accessible by 2055, as per an agreement the MTA settled with the advocacy community. This is a design build contract that was awarded to the JTTC JV, the J-Track and TC Electric joint venture in December of 2022, and mobilization and construction or utility relocation and staging area setup will begin in July of 2023. And we're expecting substantial completion on this project to be done by Q4 of 2024. So a little over a year, a little less than a year and a half. Some context, although I'm sure folks on the Transportation Committee are well versed with the Northern Boulevard M&R. This is a local station on the Queens Boulevard line, underground with 2 side platforms and only 1 staircase directly down to the platform level. And the station itself is located at the intersection of Broadway and Northern Boulevard in Queens. So what are we working on? As we show a rendering here of the new Brooklyn and Manhattan bound elevator at the street level near 54th and Northern. You can see over here. Let me get my laser pointer because I'm a nerd and I like my laser pointer. So what kind of ADA improvements are we making? 2 elevators to represent each side of the station. Both will be street to platform level. There is no mezzanine at this station, so it will go right from the street down to the platform. We will be rehabilitating active staircases and reclaiming inactive staircases, and we'll be making them ADA compliant with new treads, landings, and handrails. All the platforms and boarding areas will also be ADA compliant. And because we will be making improvements to the sidewalk, roadway, and curb, we will also be making those ADA compliant as well. So which additional customer benefits are we going to be receiving? This station will be getting a number of state of good repair improvements, utility upgrades, improved lighting, as we can see, and improved backend communications that will make running the train a little easier. And this is a new fare control area that's going to be at the base of the Queens-bound platform. This is the elevator that we will see a rendering of in the next photo. So these are the 2 renderings of the new elevators. The Brooklyn and Manhattan-bound elevator will be at Broadway and 54th Street, and the Queens-bound elevator will be at Broadway and 56th Street. This is the new active reactivated staircase that we're going to be working on. And this is an adjacent property who we're going to be coordinating construction with. And this is Broadway, that's 56. Northern Boulevard is over here. And this is the intersection of Northern, Broadway's right there. And 54th, I think, is this little bit back there. So this is just another example of the elevator, staircase, and platform improvements. We saw the Queens-bound elevator at the platform level, and this is what it will look like on the Brooklyn and Manhattan-bound side. You could see improved lighting, a more customer-friendly fare control area with more space to accommodate for folks inside the station. And this is the cross-section view. So I believe it was asked earlier, where are these elevators going exactly? So this is kind of the best view of them at a cross section. These little arrows here are the path for folks out of and to the accessible platforms at each level. So like I mentioned earlier, this is 55th, 54th is over here. This is the intersection between Northern and Broadway. This is the Queens-bound elevator we saw earlier. and this is the Manhattan bound elevator. So the next question obviously would be, when is this happening? So mobilization and utility relocation upgrades are going to start in July. The upgrades and relocations will be concurrent throughout the project as we encounter them. And then in December, we're going to start on the Queens-bound elevator and stairs, and that should go from December to Q3 of 2024. And then we will do the Brooklyn and Manhattan-bound elevator stairs starting next July and through the end of the year. So naturally, this work will necessitate service impacts and alternatives. Because this is a design build project, we've actually been able to bump up the mobilization and utility relocation starts so we can finish the project sooner. But a result of that is that we are still working out the exact precise service impacts and alternatives. But of course, like for every project, we will make sure the community board and elected official stakeholders are aware. We will be putting signage all over the stations and throughout the system. We'll be putting barricades up within the station and on street level. There will, of course, be staircase closures as we rehabilitate and reactivate new staircases. But regardless, no matter what, we will make sure people know. We will communicate this, and we'll make sure that whatever assets we can provide, digital assets we can provide the community board regarding this, we will send expeditiously. None of this will come out of nowhere. There will always be enough notification. Our station signage and customer communications folks are always on top of it. And as soon as these are announced, they'll be on our planned service change website, at least a month before. So again, because we were able to push up the date on our work, the ability for us to start our work sooner, we're still negotiating with DOT on the exact locations of our staging areas, but tentatively we're looking at 56 between Northern and Broadway, adjacent to the Mama Juana Cafe Street. That looks like it will be one staging area, but again, we are pending DOT approval. On Broadway near 54th and 56th, there will be a temporary removal of parking spaces naturally for us to accommodate the work and the street level work that's going to be taking place. The bus stop at Broadway and 56th will be relocated because the elevator is going to be directly adjacent to the bus stop that's already on Broadway and 56 in front of the Mama Juana Cafe. So we're going to deepen the bump out. We're going to put the elevator there, and then the bus stop will be right next to it. So this will actually be a fairly seamless connection between the bus and the subway for our folks in the ADA community. And, and again, as a result of, us being able to bump up this work, dates and impacts are TBD right now, but as we've done with other projects, we will make sure that the community board and all of our elected stakeholders are made well aware before these are going to begin. So if you have any questions about this, there are a few ways to get in touch with us. The project email address is forstationsadaImprovements@gmail.com. There's a project hotline, 866-841-4762. And before everybody starts furiously writing this down, I will just let you know we will be sending this presentation to the community board for their records, so they have it. And of course, you can always contact me. Florence and I are in fairly regular communication. You have a very good board and very good leadership who are always on top of it. So we have an open dialogue with each other. So you can always contact me. My email is daniel.randell@mtahq.org. And my phone number is 646-335-2967. And also Joe O'Donnell, who is not with us tonight this evening, because we are doing a spate of ADA Bundle 4 outreach this week to make sure that we catch the boards before we're off for the summer. But he is also a point of contact on this, and his email is included as well. So we'll get to questions. I see that there are already some in the chat. I'm sorry, there are already some hands raised. So we will definitely get to all of your questions and comments. And I know this is a short presentation and there's a lot of TBD here. But just know you will not be left in the lurch at all. I would never do that to this board, never do that to you guys at Florence. But yeah, there's still just a lot more information that we have to provide, but we wanted to come out early and we wanted to give a sense of what it could look like and take some questions to make sure we can speak to the community board. So with that being said, I'm happy to open it up to some questions. So however, Dom and
It'll
Tom,
go
you
through
guys
the
want to do
chair,
it?
Dan.
Yep.
So Dom will
Sure.
go first, and then the board members go after the chair of the board, of the
Sure.
committee.
Sure. I'm happy to see the presentation, and I pretty much take the train westbound from Dutch Kills, so I'm not that familiar with the station, and it blows my mind that I'm not, but I'm not. So I think Tom was first and then Antonella, and so please raise your hand in the order you want to speak. Tom?
Okay, I have several questions because I live right there. This station used to be a double entry one where the Queensbound was at Broadway and 54th, then it was also at Broadway where the Getty station is across from Mamawana. Then Mamawana was the entry point, and Northern Boulevard and 54th Street on the Manhattan side. So while you're doing this, are you going to be, because this is a very busy station and there's really no quote unquote alternative, because the alternative is 56th Street and then 65th Street. Will you have a stairway entrance open at all times, because you'll have two staircases so that people can use the station?
Sorry, I'm just writing your questions down. So my belief, and Molson, please correct me if I'm wrong. My belief is that we will not be shutting multiple staircases down at one time. I believe we will be doing one at a time to maintain access to the station as we're able to. Of course, on weekends, if there are bypasses or anything along those lines, then we would restrict access to the staircases because there will be work being done on the platform or on the tracks. But my understanding is that we will be maintaining at least one staircase open on each side.
On each side, but right now you only have two
on each side.
staircases.
Yeah,
both
there are
in the
two.
Northern and Broadway intersection, because the ones Mamawana and Getty, those have been sealed years ago.
Yes, but so we're actually going to reactivate the Mamawana staircase. That's the one that we're reactivating. But yeah, my understanding, and Mosen, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we will not be shutting down multiple staircases on one side of the street at the same time, just as we get to them. So we can maintain some access to the station.
So will the across the street from Mamawana, will that be reactivated also? Because you keep saying it's not.
I don't think that's the plan. That's my understanding.
So where is your 4 access points? Or just straight?
So let me ask Mosen for a little context on that.
Danny, I guess right now on each side of the station, there is only one staircase to go in and out.
Oh, I see. I apologize, and I misspoke.
So what's going to happen as part of this contract, we are going to reactivate one staircase, which is by Mamawana Cafe on, I guess, on Queensbound side. So
No, that's
that's
the Manhattan
on
side.
that side. On that side, we will have two staircases after this project. But on the Manhattan bound side, we are not going to have another. We are not going to add another staircase. We are going to basically rehabilitate the existing one, which is by the 54th Street and Broadway.
So I'm confused. So you're only gonna have in total 3 entry points?
Well, right now there's two entry points, and we are going to add another one. It's going to be three, right?
So,
So yes, when one staircase is closed, that means we will have to prepare service alternatives for folks, because we have to, we can't, if there's only one point of access and that point is the only staircase, we have to close the staircase to do the work, then at that point we would have to create alternatives for folks, either by back riding through the southbound way or some other form of a planned service change.
but I don't understand, because right across the street from Mount Moana is the Getty Station. There is a staircase there.
Yes, that's just not part of the scope in
You're
this
not gonna do it?
project.
Okay. My other question is you're gonna cut off the service, use a staging area on 56th Street? Would not,
That is the tentative plan right now. Yes.
right, would, my question, wouldn't it be better to be on 54th Street south of where the intersection of Broadway and Northern Boulevard are?
Well, the reason that we are taking that area is that most of the in order for elevator to be installed on that area in front of Mamuana Cafe, we have lots of utilities that needs to be relocated. So there are majority of work that happening on that area. So it's going to be hard to mobilize to that spot from 54th Street and things like that, and run the machine and equipment all the way from 54th to 56th Street. So that's why basically the contractor wants to be closer to its staging area, so they are not going to interrupt the traffic and things like that.
And so I think I understand what you're getting at, Tom. So also this is the tentative staging location for the utility work. So when we're working on the elevators, we still have to work that out with DOT. So I think that's a great suggestion in terms of where the future staging areas could be for the elevator work at 54th Street as well. But we're still working those details out with DOT, but that's a great suggestion. So we'll note that.
Dan, you had a better map. If you could put up like an early map, it might really drive Tom's point home in terms of affecting the pedestrian access. So
Another map?
you had one up there that I think would
Oh, the cross section?
no, not that one. There was an earlier one that I thought was no. You didn't have something very early, not that, no. No?
No, I guess not.
Okay.
But this is near 54th Street. This is the street view of it. So yeah, that's a good suggestion for when we're doing the work over there at that elevator. We just don't have that worked out yet totally. And I mean, that's a result of, design build. It gives us a lot of flexibility to shorten projects, which is a good thing. But, sometimes it means that we have to present an idea of the information that we have, and we'll have to come back when there's additional information solidified. But that's a good suggestion because we haven't solidified it yet. So we will, bring that back to our team and see if that's possible to do. Of course, this is all subject to DOT approval. So we can have great ideas, but ultimately they have to approve it. But we'll definitely bring it back.
On Tom's question, not ending Tom's question at all, but right here on this photograph, go back. Where's the staging area intended to be? On the sidewalk? I assumed you were talking about some unused lot to the left of that person with the dog.
So this staging area, this is not what we saw in the map. So in the map, and I will go back to the Mama Juana photo. Sorry, just a second. Okay. So the staging area, if you see my laser pointer, will be in between the lot and this area over here for the utility relocations. Now, for the actual elevator work, so that elevator work itself is not starting until December of 2023. So we have a little bit of time between now and then to solidify the MPT and staging area location. The only one that we have a tentative idea of is for the utility relocation work, which is almost limited exclusively to 56th Street, which is what Mohsen was saying before, that is the best location for it, because instead of having it on another block and we have to trudge and walk and do all these things, it kind of keeps us more compact and in place on 56th Street, closer to the work site.
Sure. Tom, any more questions?
Yes, just so I'm sure you're aware of this, it's gonna be a high school being built right at 54th and Broadway. In
Northern.
this picture you're looking, it's in front of the guy walking the dog. That's where the high school's gonna be. And also DOT is putting in a bus lane starting at just east of this intersection. And that's gonna be come into play. And
Yeah.
so just bring this up. Also, my biggest concern is I'm thinking about the elevators on the 7th train at Roosevelt and 61st Street. How are you going to maintain these and prevent vandalism and public bathrooms?
I mean,
I'm serious. This is serious.
yeah, no. I'm only laughing because these are the kind of issues that we have to deal with. I don't think they're unserious issues. It's, the reality is these are elevators that, if they work well, will be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can't restrict access to them to folks. There's no. I think the best that we can do, and what we hope, this is a community effort. If you see something like that, report it to MTA, to MTA staff, to officers who might be at the station at the time. But that's a very valid question, because we are building these brand new, wonderful, beautiful elevators, and we'd like for them not to be residences. But there's only so much we can control within that. We don't kick folks off the elevators. People aren't, there's no security guard on the elevators, right? So we're a little limited in that capacity from preventing folks from using them, and it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So my best answer for that would be it would be a community effort to help support us in that endeavor.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Antonella. You're muted.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to unmute. It took me a minute. So Tom asked both of my questions, except on the safety issue it's desolate there at night. And in Manhattan, I think last week, a woman was assaulted in the elevator. So I think a good thing is probably to have working cameras 24/7 or something that would deter hopefully an assault. You can't there are people wearing masks, so I don't know, but I think that's a real big consideration, especially given the crime increase in our area. So
let me ask, Mohsen, do these elevators have cameras in them?
Yes, they do cameras.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And because these are the newest technology, and in the newest form, they should be in very good working order by the time they're ready and should be integrated into our emergency response system. So yeah, there will be cameras on them. That's good to know. I
And
didn't know that myself.
Call button as well?
Yeah, that's standard.
Yeah.
That has to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, whatever features, I mean, especially if we're having this call publicly, hopefully people will come up with some great ideas to put forward. But I think that's a really valid consideration, especially given what's going on today. Thank you.
For sure. It's very hard to monitor a 24/7 system like that, but we can aid in helping people feel at ease for sure with cameras and with different things. So I appreciate that, Antonella. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions from members of the board? Although the screen is still being shared, I think I would see all the yellow hands that are up. And I don't see any others. So, and I also want to say, I think I see Richie here as a board member. Welcome, Rich. And I know you're not a committee member, but welcome anyway. And of course, welcome to all the people that are from the public. So Dan, thanks so much. And it's good to get your information and to meet you by Zoom. And I can't think of any other questions. Do any other members of your team have anything that they would like to add?
I think we're all good. Just want to thank the board for having us here. I don't think this is the first time we've met. It definitely won't be the last time though. I love coming to CB1. Florence does a great job. This is a really exciting time in this community. So I'm looking forward to meeting you and updating you more on this. And, if ever you need something, just give me a shout. And I appreciate the time tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. So we will move on to presentation 2, which is kind of actually the main reason for us calling this supplemental meeting in June, because we regularly meet every 60 days, but we threw this one in with the goal of reviewing this resolution to be discussed before the summer kicks in. So thanks to Florence for accommodating and helping arrange this, and thanks to everybody for coming. So to remind, Adam Fisher-Cox has done a lot of work a month ago plus, and he drafted up a resolution which basically was intended to strengthen DOT's action and defend and support DOT's actions in the future in terms of street design for the safety of everyone. So there was discussion last month, and it was kind of left that we reconvene in the matters of the precision of what we asked for, and that was mainly it, and also possibly the idea of taking some potentially extraneous commentary out of it. So we do have a new revised draft that Adam, I would like to share. Adam, I would like you to share it, and we've sent it to the board, I believe just yesterday. So let's review that. From I don't think we need to compare it back to what happened, but I think we tried to address all the comments. So I hope this can be a short and concise meeting and review, and I hope it's all acceptable to everyone. But of course, all comments will be welcome. And Adam, can you share now? And why don't you take the floor and introduce the final version, or the final suggested version?
Sounds good. It looks like I can share. Yeah, I'll give it a try and see if there's any issue with it. Yeah, it looks like I can. Yeah, so just as a reminder, this is in response to a lot of feedback we've heard from the community. I see there's a lot of people here interested in this today. No matter whether you're primarily getting around in a car, by train, bus, I think we're all walking around this neighborhood at some point and all have some experience with dangerous driving, and especially like the navigating intersections here, and having visibility with drivers as trying to cross the street is particularly tough. And unfortunately, we've recently lost two children, a 7-year-old and a 16-year-old, at intersections, and we should be doing all we can to prevent that in the future. So I won't go through the whole spiel again from last time. I think everyone on the committee who was here last time is here again. But I will go through the draft resolution here and point out some of the changes we made. I think the first one is just simplifying it in general. We have the top section here, which I will go through again in a moment, which just lays out some of the existing facts and kind of reasoning for this resolution in the first place. And then the second section here, the be it resolved section, is what we're actually asking for. And that is installing raised curb extensions or daylighting at all intersections, starting at, but not limited to, intersections within 1 block radius of any school, senior center, or facility for the disabled. The thinking being that these are kind of the most vulnerable places with the most vulnerable road users. That would be great to prioritize first. The second request following on to that is that the DOT include pedestrian safety improvements as kind of a matter of fact in any future construction. If they're resurfacing the roads, redoing sidewalk, crossings, things like that, adding raised curb extensions or daylighting as standard components at any intersection affected by a resurfacing or sidewalk reconstruction or repair project. And then finally, and I think this is an important part that goes companion to these two, because we do see a lot of the times at intersections that are identified as dangerous, the DOT will install some form of daylighting, but do it just with paint and maybe a couple kind of flexible posts that don't do too much to actually enforce that space as safe space for pedestrians. So we're requesting that if and when DOT installs daylighting without, if they're unable to, for some reason, cast concrete curb extensions, that they protect that space with physical immovable barriers that would prevent a driver from entering the space. Examples being granite blocks, heavy planters, bell bowlers, or standard bollards, which are all more solid than paint or flexible posts. So those are the three things we're requesting. We took out requests that had a specific location about 21st Street where this most recent fatality occurred. We felt, due to some of the discussion, that we should just leave this to DOT, being the kind of experts on street design and things like that, and not be too opinionated with pointing out specific locations for a variety of reasons. First of all, we just don't have all the information and data that they do, but also I think it could be a very long and unproductive discussion to try to create a list of every single location of this. I think it would be quite a long list as well. So keeping it a little more broad and just in general supportive, and requesting that this be considered all the time as a matter of course in what they do. Finally, I'll just go through, I'll paraphrase, I won't read these word for word, but just some of the supporting data that we are bringing to this resolution in support of these requests. First of all, in this community board, in the last 12 complete months of data, April 22 to April 23, there have been 5 traffic fatalities and 950 injuries. New York City's Vision Zero statement says that no level of fatality is inevitable or acceptable. So just reminding that is a statement of the city already. This threat obviously remains, as we still have so many injuries and fatalities as well. A proven way, recognized by many folks in the transportation industry. This is
Adam,
from the
if you wouldn't
national.
mind, Adam, try
Yes.
to just read, before you paraphrase it, please read it, because it's what we're voting on. You know what I mean?
Sure, that's a good
Don't go
point.
back, but you could just read the 4th bullet, and I
Okay,
think you're,
yeah.
if you don't mind.
No problem. So where was it here? Okay, so one proven way to improve safety is by increasing the visibility at intersections. The National Association of City Transportation Officials recommends that intersection design should facilitate eye contact between street users, ensuring that motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians, and transit vehicles intuitively read intersections as shared spaces. In practice, they recommend designs that daylight intersections. That's kind of an important term here, daylighting in general. By removing obstacles that obscure sightlines for all street users. And I'll just pause for 1 second here and remind everyone kind of what we're talking about with daylighting here. An example of curb extensions here in New York. What this does is kind of in the parking lane at the crosswalk gives more pedestrian space so that they're able to walk out and make eye contact with drivers further down the road, rather than the current state of a lot of our intersections where because there's a car parked right here, it's not really until you're already in the crosswalk that you're able to see if anything's coming, and that obviously can lead to conflict and injury and fatality there. The next bullet point here is that there already is New York state law on the books, New York State Law 1202, which prohibits parking within 20 feet of an intersection. Most intersections in New York City do not comply with the state law currently. The law gives New York City the ability to write its own traffic code, and they have chosen to not comply with this part of the law. But they do that despite clear evidence of the importance of increased visibility in preventing injury and death. Lack of visibility has caused numerous pedestrian injuries and deaths. 79% of pedestrian injuries and 55% of fatalities in New York City occur at intersections. Cities like Hoboken and Jersey City, which have built clearly delineated daylighted areas at intersections, have seen significant improvement in traffic safety. Hoboken has not had a traffic fatality in the past 4 years, and Jersey City has not had a traffic fatality in the past 16 months. They, I think, recently made it official that the last calendar year they went without any traffic fatalities on their city-controlled streets. And finally here, the DOT itself recommends curb extensions as a key measure to enhance visibility at intersections. Per the DOT, the safety benefits of curb extensions include that it shortens crossing distance, reducing pedestrian exposure and minimum required signal time for crossing. They improve the ability of drivers and pedestrians to see each other. They calm traffic by physically and visually narrowing the roadway. They slow turning vehicles and emphasize the right of way of crossing pedestrians. They reinforce truck routes and lane discipline through the intersection, preventing reckless vehicle passing maneuvers through the parking lane. Trying to get around another car that's maybe turning by going through the parking lane. And they provide additional pedestrian space and reduce crowding, particularly for queuing at crossings and bus stops, or when located at a subway entrance or other obstruction. We might be familiar with that on along the N train. There's some kind of narrow spots where the subway entrance is. So that is the full text, kind of supporting these 3 requests of installing this daylighting everywhere and making sure that it is physically protected. So yeah, I'll pause there and hand it back to Dominic.
So thanks. I see a hand up from Tom. I'll kind of give my sum up after questions. So Tom, do you have any questions or comments?
I want to add something. Speaking as an auto driver trying to absorb all this, on these physical immovable barriers, can reflectors or something you put on it so that you can see it? I mean, when you're driving, there's so many things to watch and look for, and especially something new like this, it needs to be identified at a certain height, so you're not looking down. You're not looking down when you drive, you're looking out. So there's some kind of visual reflection or something, not just a white pole, a reflective surface that lets people know, especially drivers, that there's something there. So I'd like to add that.
Tom, I would just say that this is another area where I think DOT, there are laws about what visibility and reflective needs to happen, that DOT is aware of, and they wouldn't install something that's going to not comply with that. So for example, they recently put these granite blocks in at 21st Street and Astoria Boulevard, kind of similar to how we're requesting here. And they installed also some reflective, I'm going to say 3 foot high reflective yellow and black striped signage in front of that, where it sort of faces a traffic lane, so that people who are not able to see that at night or something like that won't crash into a rock because it's not reflective. So I think, again, by leaving this very general and just requesting this and leaving it to DOT, the implementation details, hopefully we can trust that they will do the job of making it safe and complying with all those traffic and signage laws that are necessary as is. But I would expect there to be reflective material.
I'm just going to disagree with you, because that's what happens in reality. My other question was, does this include delayed traffic lighting with walk signals, so that Is this part of this daylighting?
Adam, can I answer that?
Sure.
So if you could scroll down, just because I'm sure Adam has a lot of different things on his mind, go to those 7 points or however many there are, go up. So right there, the first bullet on the bottom of the first page before the footnotes, shorten, so Tom, no, you had it, it's fine. Tom, it's not part of the resolution, but those leading pedestrian indicators are being installed. They're wonderful and they're really game changing. And but they're not mentioned here because we're deciding, to keep this to one specific narrow supportive ask. But that note right there kind of addresses your question. These curb extensions, they literally reduce the length of crossing up to, they take about 1/3 of the travel path away. So it says shortens crossing distance, reducing pedestrian exposure and minimum required signal time for crossing. So when you go to these curb extensions and go to the light, it's luxurious in terms of the time that you have on whether you're sitting behind a windshield or walking across the street. So it's basically a well-designed implementation that makes the crossing for everyone more efficient.
I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just
No, I know
saying,
you're not. I'm just trying to support.
I'm just, it's very vague and I'm trying to interpret it.
This
The thing is with the pedestrian, the cars, there has to be, not that people use it, but the delayed traffic lights, the delayed yellow crossing, the walking signs that people will follow it are also helpful too, because everyone, like your draft says, bikes, pedestrians, cars, trucks, everyone's got to play by the same rules. So.
Right. And I was, regarding your first point, trying to find a place, Adam, where we would say, the implication is that if they're DOT approved curb extensions, they're DOT approved daylighting installations. So as Adam says, it's implied that they would only install things that are meeting the traffic code. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any other questions from members of the committee? It doesn't seem.
Nas has his hand up.
Sorry, I
Nas
can
is
see
a
that.
member of the committee.
Hey, Nas, please unmute. Nas.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I love the resolution. And I think what's really good about it here is that while some may be aware, the board did send a letter asking for some daylighting at school locations, like school crossings, after one of the most recent unfortunate deaths. But I think what's good about this here is that, there's no reason to limit our ask to just the schools, because this obviously benefits everyone. And I think what we've also seen, which frankly has shocked me in a good way, is that, a lot of times we think, oh, the city moves very slowly, it feels impossible to get anything changed, but we saw how fast Newtown has been transformed since the unfortunate loss of Dolma. And that's a DOT that, when they feel empowered by the community, are ready to make very good, bold changes. And especially in this case too, where, it doesn't end up being like a huge capital project that has to be factored into multi-year budgets. This is stuff that can go down pretty quick with paint, planters, bollards, etc., on a fairly quick timeline. So it's kind of proven, it's kind of low-hanging fruit. So I think if we show our support with this resolution, I think DOT is going to feel like, okay, yeah, we can do this, and it's going to be a really good thing for all users across the board. I mean, I use all modes too. I love to be able to see more when I'm driving. I love to be able to see more when I'm walking, and I love to see more while I'm biking. So for me, it's a slam dunk ask, and it's just a good thing to do. That's it.
thanks. Nas.
Yuma has a
Yep,
question,
yep.
and then after Yuma, Senator Gonzalez got stuck, so her rep is going to ask to speak, okay? So Yuma's first.
Thank you, Adam, for presenting this again. It's an excellent resolution, well written, well researched. I think ultimately we are just asking DOT to follow the law. And to me is interesting to think about the we have representatives in Albany currently asking for legislation to give the city home rule so that we can set our own speed limits. Yet, when we have home rule when it comes to daylighting, we choose not to follow the law. I just want to commend you and everyone else who's been involved with this, and I think it will save lives. Thank you.
Wonderful, thanks. Do any other committee members want to speak on this resolution? It's hard to
No
see.
hands raised.
So I guess I'd like to ask you to unshare, Adam, but be ready, always be ready to share again.
Ben will like to speak for Senator Gonzalez's office before you move forward.
I have a feeling we'd all love to hear from Ben from Senator Gonzalez's office before we move forward. Hi, Ben.
Hi, thanks so much for having us here tonight, and apologies that Senator Gonzalez couldn't be here herself. She's on her way back from Albany and got stuck in transit. Adam actually went through a lot of the facts and figures that were in our statement of support already, so I'm going to keep it brief and just say that at every community meeting our team attends nearly, we hear about street safety as a top concern for residents of Western Queens. We understand that the number of traffic fatalities that we have seen is unacceptable, and that daylighting is not part of New York City's Vision Zero initiative. It should be. We support this resolution. We understand the success that New Jersey has had with daylighting just across the Hudson River, and we believe that this should be a high priority for the Department of Transportation for our community. And so we support, our office supports this resolution and urges the board to pass it. That's it. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, thank you, Ben. Thanks so much. So I guess my point of view is when Adam put the Jersey references into the resolution, I remembered being in Hoboken, and I as I think back, I remember being subtly or subliminally calmed in that area, and going back a few years, but I remember, and it didn't really hit me the reason why. But now when I see those stats, it all kind of comes together that it obviously will, as Ma says, it will definitely save lives. So I will be voting for this resolution when we do. I think we have a lot of public members, members of the public here now, and it's 7:34, and
You need to take the vote first before you, this is committee meeting, working committee meeting. You need to take vote.
I was going to
And
say,
public doesn't speak during working committee?
I remember being in a committee meeting with the esteemed.
No, it's not the norm, sir.
Pardon, I'm talking. The esteemed Evie Hanzopoulos, where she did.
And it was an error, and I got in trouble for
Guys
it.
are out of order.
Understood.
May I say something?
May I finish, guys? May I finish?
Good.
Okay, may I finish? Thank you. Because of the time that it is and the fact that I was up at 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to say to the public, you'll be very welcome to speak at the open meeting, which I believe is on the
20th, June 20th.
But I think what I'd like us to do here is just have the committee vote. It seems to be the structure. And so I think we need somebody to make a motion or, consider discussion closed. Will somebody make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, Tom Ryan, that the resolution as written be accepted.
Thank you, Tom.
Seconded, Huma.
Seconded by you, Ma. Okay, so I will read your name and tell me if you're, and I will give me a minute to write it down next to your name. So once again, in no particular order, but in the order that I have written here. Adam Fisher Cox,
Yes.
Tom Ryan,
Yes.
Dominic Stiller, yes. Nas Magudis,
Yes, and thank you, Adam, for putting this together.
yes. Yu Ma,
Yes.
Antonella Di Severio,
Thanks. Yes.
thank you. Okay, so that's 6 yeses and 0 nos. So
Unanimous. Congratulations.
unanimous, and we will take this to the committee meeting, to the full board meeting, and I guess it will be voted on again after discussion in the committee report, and we'll hopefully have as much success with this important resolution there. So once again, thank you so much, Adam Fisher, for your Cox, for your
Yes.
hard work.
Thanks, everyone.
Does anybody else have any new business?
Thanks again, Adam.
Lawrence, do you have any thing you'd like to say as a district manager?
MTA will be coming to our full board meeting for a separate and different presentation. I have not received a copy of the presentation yet, but they will be on the agenda for the June 20th meeting. Please don't forget, you'll have to make a report with your vote under committee reports at the full board meeting.
Will do.
Other than that, everything is great. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Seconded. Thanks, everybody. Have a
Yeah.
great few weeks, and we'll see you on June 20th.
Take it easy.
Thanks, Florence.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hey, Carol. Good night.
Bye.